live from the studios of Kansas. You are watching KUJH TV.
Alleyways can be a headache for people living in Lawrence, but who is at fault for the torn up asphalt?
Trump talks treason. The president fires back at Congress with demands about the ongoing impeachment inquiry.
A West Coast OG is coming to Lawrence. We'll have details all about the late night in the fog festivities. Bumpy roads, trash spread out, and no fix throughout the alleys. I'm Carson Turner.
And I'm Keely Drew. That's a problem many in Lawrence are facing, and they want a solution now. KUJH reporter Malik Jackson went to see exactly how bad the problem is and how the city fits into the equation.
They're awful. Like, somebody could swim in that.
Potholes, trash littered throughout the alley. Like Molly, many people around Lawrence want answers as to why these alleys are falling apart.
Like, I try to swerve, but the alley's not big enough to swerve around them. So then you just have to go over them. There's a ton of trash everywhere. The trash cans aren't pushed back enough.
And Gaston is headed back to the repair shop.
I've had it fixed before, and then I went over a pothole and it broke again. So I'm getting it fixed again over Thanksgiving, and we'll see if that holds.
Just look at when I set the camera on my dashboard and tried to drive through. I came across bumpy roads and trash spread all around. She says the city is worried about things elsewhere.
They worry so much about the main streets, but they don't realize how much damage this actually causes to cars.
This is a problem that Lawrence residents face when they walk out of their home. A row of potholes down the center of the alley and trash that's coming into the middle of the street. The city says they maintain gravel alleys twice a year, but pavement alleys only when people request. Judy Allen, who manages properties in the area, says the problem is getting worse.
Because every time we have game days and stuff, these get deeper and deeper because there is a lot of traffic back here.
Allen says the massive amount of trash needs attention very soon.
Probably the next day or the next, like on today, you know, at least come and empty them because I'm picking up trash.
In Lawrence, Malik Jackson, KUJH News.
The city is responsible for the alleyways, so if you have a problem, reach out to them as they do repair by request.
Thanks for that, Keely. Hopefully Lawrence drivers are remaining safe while the city gets the road figured out. Madison, do you have an update on the weather for us?
Oh, absolutely. Thank goodness we're finally going to start to see those fall temperatures that I know we've all been waiting for. We're a week into fall, and here we are, still looking at these incredibly warm temperatures. 85 today, and that's not even what it really felt like, because we have these southeast winds, 10 to 15 miles per hour, pulling in all this moisture. So just looking at temperature maps, we're just 80s across the board, but once we factor in these super high dew points from this southerly wind, we're up to about mid 70s across the area. That is humid, especially for the beginning of fall. Once you put those two things together, the temperatures we were actually feeling today were 98 out in Manhattan, 96 in Topeka, and 92 here in Lawrence. So even with that wind, it really wasn't helping us cool off much. But luckily, moving into this week, we are going to finally see those temperatures change. We're going to get a front move through. More on that timing coming up next, later.
KU basketball fans will be getting a glimpse of Snoop Doggy Dogg's world at this year's Late Night in the Fog. Kansas Athletics just announced that the multi-award winner is this year's featured rapper for Late Night. KU Athletics hosts the annual event to get fans excited about the upcoming men's and women's basketball seasons. It's this Friday night at 6:30 p.m. in Allen Fieldhouse.
Blowout, thrashing, just some of the ways to describe what happened to KU football. The Jayhawks traveled to Fort Worth to face off with TCU, and it didn't go as planned. After the first, they trailed 21-0. KU couldn't stop TCU on offense and only managed to score twice. The final was 51-14. KU is now 2-3 and will face number 6 Oklahoma Saturday at Booth Memorial Stadium. The baseball season came to a bittersweet close for the Kansas City Royals, who went out on a high note after a losing season on Sunday. Runs scored by Jorge Soler, Ryan McBroom, Eric Meja, Hunter Dozier, and Humberto Arteaga led to a 5-4 victory over the Minnesota Twins. Although the Royals finished the season with a disappointing 59-103 record, Jorge Soler still leads the American League in home runs, and Whit Merrifield leads in hits. Last night also marked Ned Yost's farewell as manager of the Royals. The Kansas City Chiefs brought home a win against the Detroit Lions yesterday. Some key plays from that game: Bashoud Breeland recovers a fumble and returns it 100 yards for a touchdown in the third quarter. Detroit pulled ahead going into the fourth quarter, but Darrell Williams scored his second 1-yard touchdown of the night to make the final score 34-30. Their next game is at home against the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday at 7:20.
Well, that sounds like a game that I don't want to miss.
Yeah, at least the Chiefs are doing well with
Absolutely.
KU losing.
So still to come on KUJH News, it may be the middle of fall, but it sure doesn't feel like it for the people of Montana. Stick around to find out what the surprise winter wonderland means for the people living there.
And as investigations of presidential activity rages on, Trump responds to Congress with new demands. Stay with us. President Trump is taking to Twitter with new demands as his impeachment inquiry moves forward. And as John Lawrence tells us, he's using one word a lot: treason.
President Trump sounding off Sunday night, tweeting he wants to meet the whistleblower who represented a perfect conversation with a foreign leader in a totally inaccurate and fraudulent way.
What's going on now is the single greatest scam in the history of American politics.
Democrats disagree, saying the president took advantage of his power to solicit interference from Ukraine in the 2020 election.
This is serious evidence of wrongdoing. The president has betrayed his oath of office.
A rough transcript from the White House shows President Trump repeatedly urged Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to look into Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden and his son Hunter.
The president did nothing in this phone call that's impeachable.
Trump denies any wrongdoing, and critics of the coming impeachment inquiry say this is a bit like deja vu all over again, following special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Democrats leading the probe disagree.
After the last 2 years that we've been through, the president well understood that it was illegal to seek foreign assistance in a campaign. And immediately after Mueller testified, that is exactly what he was back at doing again.
And the White House will soon find out if that is impeachable conduct.
And this just in, Trump's lawyer Rudy Giuliani has just gotten a subpoena from Congress for documents connected to the Ukraine investigation.
Let's take a quick look at news from across the nation. The U.S. Navy is launching an investigation after the death of a sailor on board the USS Nimitz. Officials say 21-year-old logistics specialist Juan Jose Garcia Herrera was mounting a wooden block on Friday when he fell onto an aircraft elevator. He died the next day. The cause of the fall is under investigation, and there may be an on-board memorial service. The United Auto Workers Union is now giving $250 a week to its striking members as the General Motors strike continues. Workers must march and picket lines or do other strike-related activities to get the money. It's not much compared to the average $90,000 yearly income of the GM hourly workers. Talks between the UAW and GM are entering their second week. Parts of Montana are experiencing piles of snow instead of autumn leaves. The storm is knocking down power lines and trees, road conditions are dangerous, and some areas already have 2 feet of snow. The snow levels are on track to break records for how early in the season this is happening. The National Weather Service says the winter storm warning will end today after lasting all weekend. And that's your look at news from across the nation.
My heart hurts for those people already dealing with that snow. Please tell me we've got some time before that hits us.
Oh, we definitely have some time. I think this will be the first week we finally get to highs below 70.
Ooh.
More on that coming up next.
You can be the greatest, you can be the best. You can be the king, come banging on your chest. You can beat the world, you can beat the war. You could touch a God, go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you can find yourself. Stand in the Hall of Fame.
Welcome back on this warm and muggy evening. We seem to be having some technical difficulties, but it has been a hot day, a very hot day, especially seasonally. We're 10 days almost into this first week of fall, and today we saw a high of 85. Tonight, you can expect temperatures to get down as low as 74. Still not quite as low as what we're used to, but hopefully, well, it will. There we go, graphics are back. All right. So today we're going to get down to a low of 74. Not super low, but it's because we have these clouds over, and they'll be continuing through the area overnight, holding in that heat along with that moisture, keeping us warmer than we would normally be. Then we want to take a look at this big picture. So out to our west, this is the system that's going to be bringing us those cooler temperatures as we move through this week. This system is currently even producing this precipitation all the way up to the north. It is massive, and with it, it's bringing much cooler temperatures and a lot of rain. So moving into Tuesday, that's when the risk starts. It won't be till Tuesday evening that we see the highest amount of precipitation, and Tuesday night through early Wednesday morning is when we will see the end of it. So timing wise, Tuesday into Wednesday morning is when you're most likely to see this rain. It won't affect most people unless you're driving around in the middle of the night. Then moving into the rest of the week, look at the high for Thursday, 67. down to 70 by Friday, 70 Saturday. That's when our next chance of rain comes through. Another minor front to come through, but then 70s for the rest of the week. Hopefully this is where we stay. We're into the first week of October coming up and finally starting to feel like fall. All right, thank you.
Thanks for that, Madison. And hopefully the weather will stay in that perfect 70, low 70s, high 60s.
We can only hope.
Still to come on KUJH News. Thinking about taking a trip to Amsterdam? Well, you might want to think twice if you're light in the pockets.
Protesters and police erupted in Hong Kong. Stick with us to find out why tensions are so high.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but the teachers, the counselors, they help you. One of the teachers was Miss Araceli. Miss Araceli, she gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll come over and she'll sit there with you until you get it. Thank you, Miss Araceli. I know you make a difference in people's lives because of the person and teacher you are. I wanted to be here because I wanted to thank you for helping me get a beautiful gift. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work. Getting your high school diploma, it is a life-changing experience. It really is.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Get along down the road. We got a long, long way to go. Scared to live, scared to die. We ain't perfect, but we try. Get along while we can. Always give love the upper hand. Paint a wall, learn to dance. Call your mom, buy a boat, sing a song, make a friend. Can't we all get along?
Let's take a quick look at stories coming in from around the world. Violent clashes between police and protesters continue this week in Hong Kong. Protesters hiding behind umbrellas throw bricks and Molotov cocktails at police, and police fire back with tear gas and a water cannon filled with blue dye. The pro-democracy protesters are also marching on the west part of the island. Before you think about traveling to Amsterdam, you might want to consider their new tourist taxes. The city is adding a €3 per person charge to the current 7% tax on hotel rooms. That's about $3 in US money. Rome currently has the highest tourist tax in Europe, but this change means Amsterdam is on track to take that title by next year. Swiss authorities seized 25 exotic cars from the vice president of Equatorial Guinea after a money laundering conviction. Authorities say the vice president took money that was supposed to go to charities. A London auction house sold the exotic cars on behalf of the state, and it says all the money is finally going to African social programs. His roadster Lamborghini Veneno sold for $8.3 million. And that's your look at news from around the world.
It's like a Sweet 16, but with an extra digit in the middle. 106 years ago, Ruth Heiser of Pennsylvania was born. She celebrated her birthday blowing out candles with family. Her birth preceded the constitutional amendment that created the income tax and gave women the right to vote. But that's not all. 106 years ago, the world's largest train station reopened in New York City, and Woodrow Wilson became President of the United States.
And that's KUJH News for Monday, September 30th.
To view our stories again or to share them with your friends, visit our website at tv.ku.edu.
And check us out next newscast on Wednesday at 4 p.m. for the latest news, weather, and sports.
Thanks for joining us and have a great evening.